My best friend and I live in a pretty small, boring town. So whenever we want to do something fun, it usually involves a long drive to another, bigger city. Whenever she drives, I make sure to contribute whatever I can for gas. She's never asked me to. But I thought it was just common courtesy also. For a long time, she was the one doing most of the driving. I knew she was struggling to find a job and could use the money. For a long time, it didn't really bother me that she never contributed anything in return when I drove. I never asked, after all, and I didn't think that she owed me just because I offered to help her out when I could now. Our situations have kind of reversed. She has a steady income, and I'm the one struggling to find a job. A few months ago, I swallowed my pride for the first time and asked her if she could cover half the gas money for our drive to the city, and she said she couldn't afford it. I knew that wasn't true. She'd just spent $200 on a new guitar. But I didn't want to make a big deal about it, so I just drove. From then on, it was always, I'll get the next one, or I'll pay for the snacks. $10 at the convenience store while I'm shelling out over 100 for a full tank. Or I just can't afford it right now. I know I had no way of knowing for sure if that was true, but I just couldn't take it at face value with the expensive purchases. I saw her consistently making. The breaking point came last week when me, her boyfriend and my girlfriend were driving to the city for a night out. I don't drink, so was Dee Dee like always. Like always, I asked her if she could cover some of the gas money, and like always, she said no. I just said okay, then turned around, drove back to her apartment and told her to get out. I said that if she wasn't going to help me afford these trips, we wouldn't be taking them anymore. And she immediately started crying and talking about how she never asked me for anything, and she thought our friendship was more important than money. I screamed at her that she was the one prioritizing money over our friendship, and that if she actually cared about that friendship continuing to exist, she would at least help with the gas. Every once in a while when I asked instead of buying another guitar that she'd never play, she tried to launch into her usual, I'll pay you next time, but I stood firm on the ultimatum. No gas money, no trips, ever again. When I asked my girlfriend the next day if I had gone too far, she told me that I was within my rights to set the ultimatum, but I could have at least waited until we were alone instead of losing my shit while the four of us were in the car together. I agree with her there. I'm not proud of how I lost my temper. I don't want this problem to ruin our friendship, but I also can't keep hemorrhaging money for these trips that my best friend doesn't seem to care enough to contribute to. Am I the asshole here?